Quavo, Takeoff, they was down here with y'all. But they seen you walking by. He's laying on the ground. You got Mike bending down, and they seen you walking by. What took place there?
This the crazy thing about the video, right? Is
this is a problem, Jay Prince, and I'm gonna tell you like this: if you're 60 years old and you trying to be a street you failed. You failed. I'm telling you this.
Hey, man. Yeah, man. We got a little bit straightening going on. You feel me?
This whole Mase and Jay Prince situation is bigger than just rap beef. It's about street politics, trust, and a murder that still got the whole culture on edge. We talking about Takeoff's death, one of the most loved and respected artists in the game, gunned down in Houston under Mob Ty's watch. And now, Mase, who's never been shy about speaking his mind, is blowing the lid off a story that Jay Prince probably wishes would stay buried. See, Mase been running his mouth heavy lately, and not on accident. He's claiming he got inside info about a private call between Jay Prince and Takeoff just hours before that fatal night. According to him, this wasn't no friendly check-in. It was a conversation that could hold serious answers about why Takeoff even ended up in that dice game spot to begin with. And if Mase is telling the truth, that means Jay Prince knows more than he's letting on. The problem? The official story never lined up right. First, they told us this was just a friendly hangout gone wrong. Then it turned into a random dice game gone bad. But the more people looked at it, the more it felt like something was being covered up. Security cameras that should have caught the whole thing, suddenly not working. Witnesses who might have seen too much, either silent or missing. And the two main people tied to the shooting, DJ Pat and Lil Cam, one out on bail, the other barely touched by the law. Mase ain't just stirring the pot, he's dragging Jay Prince's whole community leader image through the mud. For years, Jay Prince been selling this idea that Mob Ties protects people, that if you come to Houston and check in, you're safe. But the reality? We've seen multiple guests lose their lives on his watch. First Duke the Jeweler, now Takeoff. And every time, it's the same story. Mob Ties in the room, shots ring out, and then silence.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little like the way you talking. I don't get what you mean. We're not your little like for real.
And the crazy part, Mase ain't standing alone. Cameron been riding with him, co-signing the shady vibe of the whole situation. When Cameron, somebody with deep street credibility, backs up your claims, people listen. And then you got Offset and Cardi B chiming in, not holding back about how they feel toward Jay Prince. Cardi even called him out directly online, basically saying he's not the man he pretends to be. All this noise is doing damage. Jay Prince built his brand on mystery and respect, on being the guy people don't speak bad about. But now, his name's getting tossed around in conversations about federal investigations, witness tampering, and cover-ups. Folks in the industry who used to stand next to him, they stepping back. Even big names like Drake and Jay-Z, who once had no problem showing love, are moving more cautious. Because when the streets start whispering about the feds watching, everybody gets paranoid. And here's where it gets real spicy. Mase and Cameron might have a recording. Yeah, word is they sitting on audio of that call between Jay Prince and Takeoff. If that tape drops, it could change everything. That ain't just gossip, that's evidence. And if it says what Mase is hinting at, Jay Prince ain't just facing internet slander. He's facing a public image collapse that no PR team can fix. The way Mase tells it, he's tired of the fear around speaking on Jay Prince. For years, people been scared to even hint at shady stuff because of the whole Mob Ties reputation. But Mase is calling bluff. He's saying what a lot of folks think but never say, that the so-called protection is fake and the loyalty only goes one way. And when you got that many deaths happening around you, people gotta start asking, is it bad luck or is it bad leadership?
And I'm gonna tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little like the way you talking. I don't get what you mean. We're not your little.
But don't get it twisted. This ain't just Mase playing hero. There's clout in exposing someone like Jay Prince. There's power in being the guy who finally says what everyone's whispering. And whether Mase is doing it for truth, fame, or both, it's working. The spotlight's on and the questions ain't going away. Once you start picking apart the night Takeoff was killed, it's like a puzzle with half the pieces purposely missing. The official police version, too clean, too scripted, like it was written to calm the public, not tell the truth. That's why Mase's angle is hitting hard, because he's speaking to what everybody already feels in their gut. This wasn't just some random accident. Let's keep it real. Takeoff wasn't the loud one in Migos. He wasn't the hothead. Dude was laid back, almost shy. If anybody should have been protected that night, it was him. But somehow the only man with the cleanest rep in that crew ends up dead. And not just dead at an event hosted by the same crew that's supposed to guarantee safety. That alone had people side-eyeing Jay Prince from day one. Mase ain't just talking about the shooting, he's breaking down the hours before it. That's where the alleged phone call comes in. According to him, Jay Prince and Takeoff had a conversation just hours before things went down. And if that's true, it raises a ton of questions. Was Takeoff invited for business, for a favor, for a setup? Nobody's saying outright, but Mase is hinting that whatever was discussed might explain why Takeoff was even there in the first place. Then you got the way Jay Prince handled the aftermath. Dude popped up online posting long captions about, "We don't move like that and my city don't condone this." But he never gave real answers. No names, no timelines, just vibes. And that's where the fake community leader talk comes in. Because if you're truly about protecting people, you don't just issue poetic statements, you hand over the truth. You give justice to the family.
All this shit, don't ask me what that.
Meanwhile, DJ Pat, the alleged shooter, gets arrested, then released on bond. The same man the police say fired the fatal shot is out eating shrimp and hitting the club like nothing happened. And Lil Cam? He got picked up for a gun charge and basically walked away. How do two people directly tied to a murder in front of multiple witnesses end up back on the streets so quick? That's what Mase keeps pushing, that there's power moves being made behind the scenes to keep certain people safe while the victim's family still got no closure. Mase also brought up Duke the Jeweler, another man killed after hanging with mob ties. That case, same vibe, shady timeline, lack of real suspects, and everybody pretending it's just unfortunate. But when the same type of incident happens twice in your circle, you can't just call it coincidence. And when you add in the whispers about Jay Prince running a check-in hustle, where artists pay respect and sometimes more to move safely in Houston, it paints a whole different picture. The crazy thing is, Mase ain't the only one poking holes in this story. Cardi B straight up challenged Jay Prince online, telling him she ain't scared of his threats. Offset been clear he ain't buying the nice guy image either. And in hip-hop, when women like Cardi step into the ring with street dudes like Jay Prince, that's a big deal, cause she knows her words carry, and she ain't holding her tongue for nobody. Now you got industry folks starting to distance themselves. You ain't seeing Drake posting flicks with Jay Prince like he used to. Jay-Z ain't shouting him out. And when you start losing your high-profile alliances, that's when your rep starts bleeding out in public. Mase keeps pushing that idea that Jay Prince is trying to hold onto a throne that's crumbling under his feet. And let's not forget, Mase and Cameron supposedly sitting on that alleged call between Jay Prince and Takeoff. If that recording drops, it could be the nail in the coffin. Even if it don't prove criminal intent, it could destroy the mob boss who protects his people image once and for all. Because if the call shows that Jay Prince had any kind of influence over where Takeoff was and why, the streets gon' judge that harder than any court. This ain't just about one man's death, it's about the truth behind who really runs things, and how much of that power is built on fear instead of respect. Mase is betting big on exposing the cracks, and right now, those cracks are starting to look like fault lines. By this point, the Mob Ties brand don't feel untouchable no more, it feels vulnerable. For years, Jay Prince's whole aura came from that mix of silence and respect. People didn't dare speak against him because they didn't want to deal with the fallout. But now, the code of silence is breaking, and Mase is one of the loudest voices tearing that wall down. See, the difference between now and a few years ago is social media turned into a court of public opinion. Back in the day, a situation like Takeoff's murder would get handled behind closed doors, with the streets talking in whispers. But today, every theory, every grainy video clip, every slip-up gets dissected by millions in real time. And when people don't trust the official story, they start building their own. That's exactly what's happening here. And Jay Prince ain't controlling the narrative like he used to. Mase keeps pressing the same point. Mob Ties promised protection, but they failed twice in a row. First Duke the Jeweler, now Takeoff. And both times the people responsible are either not locked up or moving free. That pattern's what's got the internet calling Jay Prince's whole image into question. If your protection don't actually protect, what is it? A brand, a hustle, or just intimidation dressed up as respect? And the more Mase talks, the more people start bringing up other old stories, times where artists checked in and still ended up in trouble, rumors of business deals gone left, whispers about the feds quietly watching everything Mob Ties does. Whether it's all true or not don't even matter. Once your name gets tied to that kind of energy, it sticks. Cameron's role in this is important too. He's not the type to co-sign gossip just for clicks. If he's riding with Mase on this, it means he either believes the smoke is real or he's seen enough himself to know something's off. And when two Harlem vets with decades of credibility start poking at the boss of Houston, people take notice, especially other artists who've been biting their tongue. Meanwhile, Jay Prince is still trying to play the statesman role, speaking in polished Instagram posts, dropping cryptic lines in interviews, pushing the same "we don't condone violence" line. But that's exactly what's starting to backfire. The streets don't want speeches, they want answers. And every day he don't give them, the window for him to control this story gets smaller. And here's the part that's really hurting. The next generation don't fear him the way the last one did. You got rappers, bloggers, and YouTubers calling his name without flinching. 10 years ago, that would have been unthinkable. But now, in an era where virality is its own kind of protection, people feel bolder about challenging old power, and that's dangerous for someone whose influence depends on mystique. Let's not overlook the possible Fed angle here either. Anytime you got multiple high-profile murders, shady witness situations, and social media pressure, that's exactly the type of case that attracts federal heat. And the rumors of the FBI paying attention to Houston nightlife ain't just blog talk. They've been floating for months. If the feds start poking around, that's when the real players start disappearing from photos, from parties, from public life. And some people think we're already seeing that happen. The alleged recording Mase and Cameron might have, that's the wild card in all this. Nobody knows if it's real, but the way Mase keeps smirking when it comes up makes folks think he's got something. If it exists, it could be explosive, not necessarily criminal evidence, but something that shatters the PR image Jay Prince been crafting for decades. And in today's world, sometimes public perception is a harsher punishment than the law. At this point, it's not just about whether Jay Prince did or didn't do something. It's about the fact that people are starting to believe he could. And that shift in belief, that's how legacies crumble. The respect starts feeling forced, the alliances start getting shaky, and the throne starts looking empty before anybody even takes it. Now we at the point where this ain't just a back and forth between Mase and Jay Prince. This is a slow motion collapse of an image that took decades to build. Mob Ties used to be synonymous with safety and respect in Houston. Now, that same name gets mentioned in conspiracy threads, YouTube exposes, and podcasts talking about street politics gone wrong. And Jay Prince can feel it. He's posting more, talking more, defending more. But the more he talks, the less people buy it. Mase keeps pressing the same narrative. This ain't random, this is systemic. He's basically saying Mob Ties operates like a check-in cartel, but the protection they promise is paper thin when the bullets start flying. And the cases of Duke the Jeweler and Takeoff are Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Same pattern. Invite-only circle, money and jewelry in the room, security present, tragedy strikes, then confusion, bail deals, and silence. To Mase, that ain't coincidence. It's proof the protection is an illusion. And whether people believe every word or not, one thing's undeniable. Mase cracked the code of fear. He's speaking on Jay Prince without looking over his shoulder, and it's emboldening others. Bloggers who never dared to say his name before, they dropping whole hour-long breakdowns now. Younger rappers who once bragged about getting the Mob Ties stamp are now publicly questioning what that stamp even means. That's not just a hit to the brand, that's a generational power shift. Offset and Cardi B still looming in the background too. Offset ain't never gonna forgive the fact that his cousin was killed under Mob Ties' watch, and Cardi's the type who doubles down when she feels disrespected. That energy keeps the fire lit. Even when the news cycle cools, Jay Prince can't just ignore them like he does with smaller voices. They've got the reach to keep his name in uncomfortable conversations. And let's not forget the industry's silent response. Drake ain't publicly riding for Jay Prince like he used to. Jay-Z's not echoing his name. Even Southern OGs who once spoke highly of him are keeping it neutral. In the street game, silence can be louder than an outright diss. It's a sign that people see a storm coming and they ain't trying to get caught in it. Then there's that wild card, the alleged recording Mase and Cameron are sitting on. The streets are already treating it like it's real, and that alone is dangerous for Jay Prince, because perception moves faster than proof. If people believe you got skeletons in your closet, it don't matter if the tape ever drops. You're already wearing the stain. And if it does drop, Even if it ain't criminal, it could destroy his ability to play the elder statesman role he's been pushing for the last decade. The most dangerous part for J. Prince is that the mob boss mystique don't work when the streets stop fearing you. Respect built on intimidation is fragile. Once people stop flinching at your name, you're just another man defending himself in public. And that's the phase he's sliding into now. Instead of being the shadowy figure who moves in silence, he's out here dropping Instagram essays, clarifying interviews, and responding to online chatter. That's a role reversal he probably never thought he'd see. Mase knows this. That's why he ain't letting up. Every time the story cools, he throws another log on the fire. And Cameron's there backing him, co-signing the shots, laughing through the tension. They know the longer this drags, the more it chips away at the mob ties armor. It ain't about winning a debate, it's about eroding a reputation until there's nothing left but questions and doubt. In the end, whether J. Prince is guilty of anything criminal or not almost don't matter anymore. His image has already taken a bullet. The brand that once represented untouchable power is now tangled up in words like cover-up, feds, and failed protection. And in hip-hop, once your rep is stained, it's near impossible to wash it clean, especially when the new generation lives for receipts, rumors, and real-time drama. So where does this leave us? Mase and Cameron holding the mic, the streets buzzing, the industry watching from the sidelines, and J. Prince standing in a spotlight he can't turn off. And if history's taught us anything, it's that when the streets start smelling blood, they don't stop till they know the whole story. And right now, they smell it all over mob ties.